Hi everybody, thank you for tuning into my channel. I want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing to my page. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Please hit those like, share, and comment because it really does help my videos circulate so it gets to as many people as it needs to get to, just like it got to you, and you. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody made it here okay and is ready to encounter this wonderful new decade and year we're going to have. Believe me, it's going to be wonderful. Into this portal we're stepping into, and this year that we're now calling 2020. So this video today, I decided before I do my first psychic reading with the cards for this year, I wanted to start off by doing a video on love, twin flames, soulmates, soul connections, etc. Okay, guys, so let's get into it. The reason why I wanted to start the top of this year doing a video just about love and twin flames and soulmates is because I truly believe with everything that's going on in the world, with everything I'm sure that's going on in all of our lives, the one real thing that we have is love. And the love of ourselves, the love of each other, and the connection that we have with all of our loved ones. That's who we live a lot. That's what we live most of our lives for. If you really boil it all down, is for love. And that's the thing that heals all. That's the thing that keeps us connected. A lot of times that's what just keeps us going and getting up every day. As a mother, I know that a lot of what gets me going every day, even when I feel at my worst, is the love for my children. And I'm sure you know what I mean. If you are anyone in this world, you don't have to be a mother. But I just wanted to start off the top of the year doing a cute little video, y'all, a little cute video on twin flames and love and all that little mushy stuff, because I see so much crazy stuff going on out here. It's enough ratchet stuff and enough intense stuff and crazy stuff out there. And I just wanted to, take it down a little bit, quiet it down, and let's talk about the intensity that's in the air and in the ethers when you encounter someone who you know for sure it's more than less than a divine connection. Okay, so I want to start off by talking about the definition of twin flames and the definition of soul connection, soulmate, soul partners. And now, everybody, I always say do your own research, and the real true truth is in you. But these are the definitions I've come to find. So, don't quote me 100%. So when you're talking about twin flames, it's said that when you have a twin flame, the reason why you have this crazy intense connection with that person is because they are one of the same soul or one of the same spirit. So it's said to say that twin flames, before they came here to this realm or this planet, they were they were a spirit that was actually one, that split to have an experience on this planet in this lifetime as in two different bodies. Okay, so the reason why that's why it's called a twin flame, and it's a twin soul, more to speak. And so the coming together of these two souls will make the soul whole, and that is supposed to be the beautiful connection that these rare these rare relationships have. Now, it was once said, from what I understand, that twin flames in the world were very, very rare, and it was very difficult to not only find your twin flame if you had one, or to even be able to sustain a relationship with your twin flame once you ran into them, because um, I look at it like the rarity of twin flames is almost like finding it rare to run into twins or triplets. Now, maybe at one point in history, twins weren't that common. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. But now you can look all around. There's twins everywhere. There's triplets everywhere. And especially nowadays, when you look at the physical side of it, you'll see that because of different things, even when it comes to like a lot of the fertility uh, tactics that people are using now, where they can have more children than what they normally would. You're seeing more twins and triplets being born, and for other natural reasons as well. So I look at it as the same type of climate changing when it comes to twin flames. So you have more twin flames for natural and man-made reasons, and for spiritual reasons as well. So I look at twin flames kind of like you look at the physical side of things, like a twin. So you have a twin who are two different people who share the same womb, who share the same DNA. And when twins are usually born, they're so connected, they have a connection no one else really can understand. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're two separate people. So when you talk about twin flames, it's kind of similar, but instead of sharing the same womb and the DNA, you've shared the same soul. You know what I mean? And then you split down into two different bodies to experience life in two different ways. So a lot of times when you meet a twin flame, they're like mirrors of each other in a lot of different ways. They're like the sun and the moon, man and woman. They're very, very mirrored. So you'll find complete opposites and then things that are exactly the same all mushed up in one. It's really weird. But not to get too much off track, but at one point in time they were saying that it wasn't that common to see a twin flame, and even when you did, it was hard for the twin flames to connect and all this stuff. And now, because of the times that we're living in, you see more twin flames because we're raising the vibration of the planet has been getting raised more and more all the time, and you're starting to see more people awaken to who they truly are. Also, in connection with that, you have technology who are making more people connected across the world. So people who you would never run into 100 years ago because of just space and where you lived and geographical reasons and demographic reasons, you can run into that person just by cutting on your phone. So yeah, so people, more and more twin flames and soul connections are coming in every day. And what makes twin flames so special is that when they come together, it's like um, the coming together of like Voltron. Like Voltron, if you know Voltron, or like what was the other one? Power Rangers or something like that. All of the pieces are awesome separately, but when they come together, they make this one big, gigantic, awesome thing, and they still maintain their own separate, special selves. But when they come together, it's this one another entity that you have, and these people. A lot of times they will talk about the runner and the chaser. When you talk about twin flames, if you look online, if you do some research, if you do any reading, you'll see a lot of that. A lot of times when someone runs into their twin flame, the intensity level is so high when you meet that person that another person gets completely freaked out and they run. And they run. A lot of times people can run into their twin flame and the feeling is so intense, or the feeling is just so right in your mind, in that person's mind. They're like, no, they don't want to believe what they're feeling is real, so they'll run. And then you have the chaser, who's usually a little bit more highly aware of what's going on, and they will be the one who's going after. And sometimes it goes back and forth. The runner will become the chaser, and the chaser will become a runner, and they'll go back and forth. The thing about twin flames is that the reason why a lot of times people would not be able to sustain these relationships as much as I think they are starting to now is because a lot of what happens when you run into your twin flame, to make that really true connection into a relationship, is that you have to shed a lot of who you are. You have to overcome a lot of your demons to make it work, because you're like running into yourself. You know what I mean? It's the other half of your soul. So it's, you don't even have to consciously know what this other person's uh, negative side is to bring it out of them when you guys encounter each other. So, like, say for example, you had a problem with commitment and you run into your twin flame. um, you'll probably end up cheating on this person and breaking this person's heart, even though you really did not want to cheat. You know what I mean? And they'll end up breaking up with you, or you'll have a really hard time committing to this person. You'll be like trying to put off the relationship or always have an excuse. You'll do something that's going to bring you to the test to try to overcome that lack that you have in sustaining a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So basically they bring out the worst and the best in you. They bring out the worst and the best. And as you guys bring out the worst and the best in each other, you begin to build and build on yourselves. And as you're building on yourselves, you're building on this thing that is basically the both of you together, this Voltron, this connection, in this big entity, until you guys become this great thing together. Now, the thing about that I do see a lot about twin flames that have been together for a while is that they go off to do amazing things together. They do amazing things because what one person does not, it's like the ultimate marriage. Because I mean, what marriage is supposed to be, we all know that it does not work out like that, because people don't have that crazy connection to sustain such a high level commitment and a high level relationship. A marriage is, you know, something that, if you believe in marriage or don't, it's just such a serious thing if you really think about it. And we take it so frivolously. But I think if you run into your twin flame, that can be a true marriage, regardless if it's legal or non-legal. That can really be a true marriage, you know, because this person really is a part of you. You know, as you're not forcing two people to become one. You two already were one, and now you're refining each other and becoming one again. So I just want to tell everybody that honestly, I think a lot more people have a twin flame soul than what once was. Just like I think a lot of people have twins. Like, I think it's the same probably ratio. I don't know. I'm feeling like Spirit saying to me it's like the same ratio. You know what I mean? And even there's people who say there's twin flames who have three, just like you have triplets and even more. When you have these connections of this, just like that, of 2 to 3 people where the soulmate have split into 3 or 4 different personalities. And I don't know so much about that. I just mostly see people who talk about twin flames and their testimonies. But I do think that you know, everybody probably has a lifetime where they roll around and do have a twin flame. And if not a twin flame, definitely a soulmate and connection, which I like to talk about next. So when you talk about soulmates and connections, we all have these. We all have these because we once are all spirits and souls in the ethers before we came here to experience life on this planet, in this realm. So when you talk about soulmates and soul connections, I think people kind of use that terminology too frivolously, because a lot of times people say, oh, this is my soulmate, or I have a soul connection with this person, because they just have a really good relationship with this person, you know. And not to say that it couldn't be, but a soulmate is somebody who you were destined to have some type of deep relationship with while you were here on this planet. You guys, as souls somewhere else, before you came here, put it in your blueprint for you guys to meet up in this lifetime and maybe in many lifetimes and have an experience together. And having a soulmate, a lot of times people think you only have one soulmate, and I come to find that you can have a lot of different soulmates and connections, where it can be romantic and intimate, or non-romantic and non-intimate. It can be with a friend, a really close friend. It can be with a family member. It's not always an intimate situation, but when it is an intimate situation, and specifically, a lot of times these people are here, we're here to learn from that person. So when you talk about getting your heart broken or falling so deep in love that you do the dumbest things, or just like all of the things that you go through in relationships, you have to remember. And guys, I'm saying this now because of the time that we're living in, because we got to get better, you know, on how we treat each other, especially men and women. You know, we got to get better on how we treat each other, um, and to respect each other more for who we are in this world, both of us. Um, and I think a really good way to understand is that when you're in a relationship with someone, especially for if it's for a long time, especially if you know that you have some type of deep connection with this person, you've been together for a while, especially if you had children with this person or if you were married to this person, or anything like that, you have to remember that everything's not forever. You know, it may have been destined for you guys to be together for that certain amount of time, do what it was that you guys were supposed to do, and for it to end. You know, and a lot of times people have a really difficult time ending relationships with soulmates. You know, I don't think people have much of a difficult time ending relationships when it's somebody that you just fancy, someone that you just like or that you care for, maybe even have love for them. But when it's a soulmate, because that connection is so strong, because it's a soul connection, it's very hard to let go of this person physically. Now, you have to remember, in your mind, you're never really letting that person go because it's a soulmate, it's a soul connection. You guys have known each other before you even got here. But to have that physical relationship, sometimes it comes to an end, and the reason why it has to is so you guys can go on your spiritual journeys while we're here. And if you hold on to it longer than what it's supposed to be, that's when the problems come in. That's when the issues come in. That's when all types of things, that's when the towers come tumbling down and all kinds of awful, horrible things. And then you end up hating this person or disliking this person. We have to really get to know each other more and communicate and know and understand when something is about to end, and not to hold on to it, because you're really hurting each other. You're hurting that person and yourself by trying to hold on to something that your soul has left a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Your soul is going to try to continue on that journey that it's on. You know what I mean? But your ego will try to maybe hold on to it to, keep it from being hurt, and the pain that it goes through. So just know and understand that in this lifetime, you'll probably have many soul mates and soul connections, and that the more that you're aware that sometimes they have an ending, the more you can be prepared for that, the easier it can be for each other, the more respectful it can be, and then you can go on to run into whoever your next experience with, may be, or with whomever it may be, and then you can actually still remain friends or still remain cordial with other soul connections that you've had. You know what I'm saying? Physically on this plane. So I just wanted to talk about that as well. So I also wanted to talk about love when it comes to yourself. Okay? Now, if you're one of them people, if you're one of those people out here that's like, I wish I could find a soulmate, I wish I could find a soul connection, I wish I could find a twin flame, what I tend to find is that usually happens. You're gonna run into soulmates usually, regardless of the fact. But when it really starts to happen, when you really start to have really wonderful, beautiful relationships and run into these kinds of experiences, is when you really, 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 really start to love yourself. So I encourage everybody to go into your meditations, go into your prayers, you know, do what you got to do to begin to really, really get to know yourself so you can get to love yourself. Because I guarantee you, the more that you love yourself, the more you will run into people who will love you just as much. The less that you think of yourself, the less that you love yourself, the less that you approve of yourself, you will attract just that kind of person who will give you that back. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people are in relationships and they're like, why am I in this awful relationship? What did I do to deserve this? And a lot of times it's not that you deserve anything, because you may not, nobody deserves to be treated poorly, I would say. I don't think anybody would think for themselves, like, oh, I deserve to be treated poorly, because everybody's justified in everything they do most times. Everybody has a reason for anything that they do, good or bad or whatever. But you have to understand, it's not so much about being deserving of it. It's like what you attracted, because of what is going on in your own head. A lot of times people who don't value themselves and who don't truly love themselves will attract people who prey on that kind of stuff. So if you're someone who has a low self-esteem, or someone who really been through a lot of turmoil and it just kind of beat down and your soul is tired, and for whatever reason that may have not been any of your fault, a lot of times you'll have someone who will come in who feeds off of that, and so you'll have somebody who comes in and will treat a person who's already kind of beat down and torn up poorly, and now they're even in a worse position that they were in before they met this other person. So you have to remember, no matter what we go through in life, to treat yourself well, and to remember you deserve the best. You deserve the absolute best. You deserve everything that you want, and the only way you're going to get it is to know that you are deserving of it, and that you have a high value of yourself, and that you love yourself to the ultimate 100%. So with that being said, guys, thank you. I know this is probably a long drawn out video, but when I talk about love and all that kind of stuff and sex, I get so emotional. I can go on and on and on. But after this, guys, I'm going to start doing my psychic readings again with the cards. As everybody knows, or if you haven't watched my video, I do psychic readings with the regular playing cards because it's just my way of doing it. And if you want to know more about it, look into my videos. It's in there somewhere. Guys, please tune in, like, comment, share, and subscribe.